Over the last 30 years, some of the most cherished video games of old have spiraled into long-lasting franchises, telling stories through sequels and prequels that expand on the tales that captivated players in their original releases. Many of these series have evolved into legends of their own, creating timelines of lore that have kept their avid communities entrenched in each game's world. The merging of two unique universes is a rare occurrence, but when the unlikely stars of Disney and Square Enix aligned, the event produced something magical that's captured the hearts of millions. Kingdom Hearts. The story of this epic crossover begins back in 2002 with the release of the original Kingdom Hearts for the PlayStation 2, introducing us to many of the common elements and characters that would serve as the foundation for the series. This first chapter centers around three kids named Sora, Riku, and Kairi, who dream of seeing what lies beyond their home. Their tranquil existence is shattered one day when an unnatural storm engulfs their island in darkness, separating the trio. In the midst of the chaos, a mysterious key-shaped blade called the Keyblade appears before Sora, granting him incredible powers. Sora soon finds himself in an unfamiliar world where he learns of his fate as a Keyblade wielder and teams up with Disney's famous faces Donald and Goofy. The duo has been searching for Mickey, their king, and they agree to aid Sora in his own quest to find Riku and Kairi. As the trio continues on their journey, they discover that mysterious beings known as the Heartless are wreaking havoc across each world. The secret behind these menacing creatures rests with the scientist Ansem, who researched the human heart and published his findings in various reports. Sora and friends battle back against the Heartless and eventually cross paths with Riku, who had unknowingly become a pawn of the wicked Maleficent from Disney's Sleeping Beauty. The two cross blades, but Sora emerges victorious. Sora then confronts the evil sorceress who had claimed to be controlling the Heartless. However, upon her defeat, Sora learns the truth. In a twist of fate, Ansem was the true puppet master, orchestrating events in an attempt to gain access to something known as Kingdom Hearts. He had possessed Riku and used him as a vessel to serve his evil deeds, and now was on the cusp of achieving his ultimate goal. Before Sora can chase Ansem down, he attempts to free Kairi, whose heart had sought refuge inside of Sora, and in the process, turns into a Heartless himself. It's only thanks to the guiding light of Kairi that he returns to normal. With his determination renewed, Sora sets off after Ansem to settle the score once and for all. In the end, Sora wins the day, but the damage has been done. The door to the realm of darkness, where Kingdom Hearts resides, is open. With the aid of Mickey and Riku, they're able to seal the door shut once more. But by doing this, Riku and Mickey are trapped on the other side of the door in the realm of darkness. Sora decides he can't return home just yet, and instead sets off to find Riku and Mickey with the help of his new friends. Their adventure was just beginning. In 2004, the next chapter in Sora's journey was revealed, Chain of Memories. Remade in 2008 for the PS2, this figurative chain serves as an interquel that links the events of the original Kingdom Hearts to its eventual sequel, Kingdom Hearts 2. Several key points are established here, including the origins of the mysterious figures in black coats and the creatures known as Nobodies. At the conclusion of Kingdom Hearts, Sora, Donald, and Goofy set off in search of lost friends. Their search takes them to Castle Oblivion, where a man in a black coat ominously claims they will find the answers they seek, though they'll have to give up something in exchange. Disregarding the man's warning, the trio sets off into the castle to find their missing friends. The beings in the black coats belong to a group of individuals known only as the Organization. Their motives are shrouded in mystery, but their true goal is to obtain the power of the Keyblade Sora wields. Despite this common purpose, a group of dissenters within the Organization plots to control Sora and seize power. To achieve their desires, they use the powers of a girl named Naminé to replace Sora's real memories with fake ones. Sora finally encounters Naminé in person after fighting his way to the top of the castle. She tells him that Sora's memory has been tampered with, and that for him to regain his real memories, Naminé will need to put him to sleep. After agreeing to do this, Sora and his friends enter into a deep slumber. At the same time Sora ventures through Castle Oblivion, Riku escapes from the Realm of Darkness. He too is led to Castle Oblivion by a mysterious voice, though this particular voice turns out to be Ansem's. As Riku makes his way through the castle, he fights to keep Ansem and the darkness within at bay. The organization, aware of the youth's incursion, seek to use this opportunity to their advantage. They push Riku to the brink, and he eventually succumbs to the darkness. Yet, with the help of King Mickey, he's able to fight back against his dark emotions. In an odd twist, we discover the voice who called out to Riku wasn't Ansem's, but actually somebody going by the name of Diz. After fighting his way through the organization, Riku finally encounters Naminé. When she offers to seal away the memory of Ansem, Riku refuses. Instead, he promises to face the darkness on his own terms. In the end, Riku prevails over the forces of darkness. With all the organization members at Castle Oblivion defeated with the exception of the one called Axel, Riku departs with King Mickey, leaving Sora in the hands of Naminé. The story continued in 2006 with the release of Kingdom Hearts 2 on the PlayStation 2. Those who had skipped out on Chain of Memories were left with a confusing introduction that focuses on a newcomer named Roxas, instead of the already established primary protagonist, Sora. Though the life of Roxas appears tranquil enough, odd things begin to happen around this new character as he recalls strange memories that aren't his. Roxas remembers he shares a connection with Sora, and that he was the 13th member of the organization mentioned back in Chain of Memories. He is eventually drawn to an abandoned mansion where he discovers the boy sleeping. This action, though not fully understood at first, was the final step to restoring Sora back to normal. Roughly a year after he began his slumber in the conclusion of Chain of Memories, Sora awakens with his memory fully returned. With King Mickey's guidance, Sora, Donald, and Goofy fight their way past nobodies as they travel to the castle of the sorcerer Yen Sid, where the looming threat of the organization, led by a man named Xemnas, is revealed. It falls on the original game's heroic trio to stop the organization's evil plans. Kingdom Hearts 2 took the foundation established in Chain of Memories and built upon it to advance the series' plot. It delved deeper into the machinations of the organization, now more properly known as Organization 13, and shed more light on the enigmatic beings known as Nobodies. It also introduced us to a man called Apprentice Xehanort, who would later be revealed as the series' true antagonist. During the events of Kingdom Hearts 2, the wise King Mickey reveals a pivotal plot of information regarding the nature of the one called Ansem. We learn that the villain Ansem isn't the real Ansem, but rather a Heartless born of Xehanort.
What? We went through all that trouble to defeat an imposter?
Yup, a fake, but he still had to be stopped.
The real Ansem, who calls himself Ansem the Wise, had instead passed himself off as Diz, who was first introduced back in Chain of Memories. Diz was working in the background to get revenge on his former pupils, who were now members of Organization 13. However, the full story behind the two Ansems wouldn't be revealed until later in the series. With King Mickey's help once again, the heroes track down the organization's base in the world that never was. Once there, Sora is reunited with Riku, as well as Kairi. Our heroes then confront the organization's leader, Xemnas, atop his castle. Sora and Riku are separated from the group, but they still manage to defeat Xemnas. However, both heroes were now trapped, with no clear way to escape. The pair eventually makes their way to the edge of the Realm of Darkness when a letter in a bottle washes ashore containing a message from Kairi. After Sora reads the note, a magical doorway appears that leads Sora and Riku back to their home in Destiny Islands, reuniting them with their friends. After the happy reunion, Kairi presents the two heroes with another letter, the writings of which were to be coded into a story not yet told in the series. Following the cliffhanger at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2, the long wait began for Kingdom Hearts 3, which fans believed was teased in a secret ending. This visual would unexpectedly span over nearly a decade and across multiple platforms. In 2006, Kingdom Hearts series head Tetsuya Nomura revealed his next game, Final Fantasy Versus 13, for the next generation PlayStation 3. In hindsight, it seems that the production of this new game, along with various other titles, had a huge impact on the production of the supposed next chapter of Kingdom Hearts. With its lead creative director tied up with other projects, several successive entries to the series were relegated to handheld platforms. Fans anticipated the announcement of Kingdom Hearts 3, but Tetsuya Nomura dashed their hopes in 2007, stating that we wouldn't see the game for some time. Instead, we were treated to another interquel that helped connect Kingdom Hearts to Kingdom Hearts 2. 3 years after the release of Part 2, 358 over 2 days for the Nintendo DS provided more insight into the background of Organization 13, including previously unknown information pertaining to the events of Chain of Memories. This time around, the story centers on Roxas, Axel, and a mysterious girl named Xion, and how the three form an enduring friendship during their time working for Organization 13. While Roxas and Axel are members of the group, Xion is not considered to be amongst their ranks, despite donning the trademark black coat. Though much of the game's narrative involves the friends sitting around eating ice cream, several important elements are revealed, like the truth behind Xion's strange existence, which has broader implications for the storyline as a whole. In this crucial side story, the organization hopes to use Xion as a puppet that would become a replica Sora, but in order for her to do that, she needs some of Sora's memories, presently locked away within Roxas. Over the course of the game, players witness the internal politics of the organization pulling the group apart as members carry out their assigned missions. Eventually, we learn the truth behind the mysterious past of Roxas. He was actually Sora's nobody, created when Sora became a Heartless near the end of the original Kingdom Hearts. The truth about Roxas is slowly revealed over the course of the game as he begins to realize his connection to Sora. In order for Naminé to fully restore Sora's memories, Roxas needs to reunite with the boy. But there's just one problem: Xion. She contains some of Sora's memories too, and as long as she exists, Sora can't fully recover. After a figurative change of heart, Xion wishes that the memories of Sora within Roxas and her be returned to their rightful owner. Angered by the way the organization used himself and Xion, Roxas sets off to challenge their leader Xemnas. Riku intervenes, using the darkness inside of him to temporarily subdue Roxas, allowing Naminé's restoration of Sora's memories to proceed unhindered. Roxas eventually awakens in a bedroom shortly after, believing everything that had transpired was merely a dream. The game ends with the opening sequence of Kingdom Hearts 2, where Roxas and his friends are enjoying the final days of summer vacation. Though we had assumed Kingdom Hearts was the origin point for the series, Square Enix took us into the past to see the true beginnings of the franchise in 2010's Birth by Sleep for the PlayStation Portable. Set 10 years before the events of Kingdom Hearts, this game laid the foundation for more of the series' mythology and finally pulled the curtain back on the origin of the main antagonist, Xehanort. Like most other games in the series, Birth by Sleep focuses on 3 main protagonists: Ventus, Aqua, and Terra. These characters would serve as the starting point for threads that stretch through time to a new generation of heroes: Sora, Riku, and Kairi. Likewise, the character art for the main villain, Xehanort, seems to pervade the entire series. At the core of Birth by Sleep is the story of Xehanort's ambition to recreate an all-powerful weapon known as the Keyblade. In order to achieve his dark desires, Xehanort sets in motion a chain of events that tears Ventus, Aqua, and Terra away from their homes and puts each of them on a collision course, ending in a showdown at a place known as the Keyblade Graveyard. Ventus is driven by his need to find Terra and warn him about Vanitas, while Aqua is instructed to watch over Terra, who is engulfed in an eternal conflict between light and darkness. Each hero believes that they're fighting to stop an evil force known as the Unversed from wreaking havoc on each world, but in truth, they're being strung along by Xehanort. Eventually, the trio reunites at the Keyblade Graveyard for a showdown with Xehanort. In the end, the arch-villain nearly succeeds. The Keyblade is partially recreated, but along with the help of Mickey, the forces of light are able to prevent it from being fully realized. However, all three heroes pay a terrible price for their victory, setting in motion a series of events that would directly impact the rest of the series. It was now up to a young boy named Sora and his friends Kairi and Riku to heal the wounds inflicted by that final confrontation with Master Xehanort. Given everything that had transpired up to this point, fans expected big things from the next Kingdom Hearts. Unfortunately, Square Enix was content to drag the narrative along with a new installment that did little to push the plot forward. 2011's Recoded for the Nintendo DS was originally released as a mobile phone game in Japan in 2008, and though it at first appears to be a refresher for those who missed out on Kingdom Hearts and Chain of Memories, it changed aspects of the plot from those games. The game begins when Jiminy Cricket finds a mysterious message in his journal that he doesn't recall writing. In order to decipher the message, he calls upon King Mickey for assistance. He creates a virtual world to interpret the data within Jiminy's notebook in hopes of solving the riddle. Eventually, with the aid of digital versions of Sora and Riku, Mickey and friends uncover a crucial bit of extra data and decode its true meaning. The information contained within is a special message from Naminé. She explains that special memories exist within the real Sora, memories that belong to the people he shares a connection with. These connected individuals were suffering from a deep hurt inflicted over the course of the series, and it's Sora's duty to heal their pain. With this new knowledge in hand, Mickey sends an urgent letter to Sora, the very same letter Kairi presents to him at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2. By 2012, the PlayStation 3 was well into its lifespan. The glimmer of hope that Kingdom Hearts 3 would arrive on the platform diminished as time went on. Yet Square Enix didn't completely abandon their fans. They created a sequel, Dream Drop Distance, for the 3DS that finally brought the entire series into focus. Riku and Sora had triumphed over Xehanort's puppets. Ansem fell by Sora's hand in Kingdom Hearts, and Xemnas was defeated by the pair at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2. However, the destruction of both villains triggered the resurrection of Master Xehanort. Realizing the dire situation at hand, Yen Sid, the former Keyblade Master who constantly kept a close watch on the balance between light and darkness, puts the heroes through the Mark of Mastery exam in order for them to further develop their skills. The two warriors set off on their individual trials to reawaken worlds previously destroyed by the Heartless. Only then can they earn the rank of Keyblade Master. During their exams, Sora and Riku encounter resurrected versions of Ansem and Xemnas. In an even bigger surprise, Sora encounters a younger version of Xehanort and is sent into a deep sleep. As Riku attempts to rescue Sora, Xehanort reveals his endgame, a new means to forge the all-powerful Keyblade with the help of a reborn Organization 13. He claims Sora is the final piece of this equation, but Riku and his friends are able to triumph in the end and thwart the villain's scheme. The victorious Riku is eventually able to revive Sora, and together the duo returns to Yen Sid. Only Riku is declared a Keyblade Master, prompting Sora to set off to the realm of sleep to thank the creatures known as the Dream Eaters who helped him during his exam. Meanwhile, Yen Sid decides it's necessary to gather Keyblade wielders in preparation for the looming showdown with Xehanort and his forces. In a final scene, we see Riku being dispatched to retrieve Kairi, who will be trained in the art of Keyblade wielding.
I believe we need a new Keyblade Master. One with a new kind of power.
The chronological order of the Kingdom Hearts games has never really been in question, as Square Enix went to great lengths to ensure the timeline was clearly defined. There are currently 7 main entries in the series, which fit into a chronology as follows. First is Birth by Sleep, which takes place 10 years before the events of Kingdom Hearts. At the conclusion of Kingdom Hearts, Sora sets off to find Riku and stumbles across Castle Oblivion, setting the stage for Chain of Memories. This is then followed by Kingdom Hearts 2, Coded, and finally Dream Drop Distance. As for the events of 358 over 2 days, the story runs parallel to the final chapters of the original Kingdom Hearts and the entirety of Chain of Memories, ultimately leading into the opening of Kingdom Hearts 2. Though the order of the games is simple enough, it's what actually transpired during each game and how these events and characters connect that form the real puzzle. For many players, numerous questions loomed unanswered. Almost all of these crucial answers are buried deep within the pages of each story, but their complexity is a major point of confusion. Without all the pieces of the puzzle, fully understanding this complicated tale is a trying task indeed. Just who is Master Xehanort, and what's his connection to Organization 13? Why are there two Ansems? Why do so many people have a connection to Sora, and why do they all wield Keyblades? What is the real mystery behind Kingdom Hearts? It's possible to know all of these things, but in order to move forward, one must first look back. Interwoven plot lines are the key to a fully realized tale, but this complex style of storytelling is typically confined to books, TV, and film. Kingdom Hearts is one of the rare exceptions. For better or worse, Square Enix earned a reputation for convoluted narrative arcs, drawing fans in with a sprawling, connected mythos. It's no surprise that the merging of multiple universes led to something not easily and immediately understandable. But like any good puzzle, a broader picture can be glimpsed as you begin to put the pieces together. It wasn't until fairly recently that the larger story came into focus. In the years leading up to the release of Kingdom Hearts 2, a deluge of unconnected character motivations and fragmented plot chunks left fans lost and confused. But there was a wealth of information waiting to be uncovered, and connecting it all would unravel the mystery behind the overall story of Kingdom Hearts. Perhaps the best way to line the pieces up is to examine the major threads that connect the games together. First, there's the series' main antagonist, Xehanort, whose dark ambitions touch each game. Then, there are the Keyblade wielders, charged with protecting the realm and stopping Xehanort and his minions. Finally, there's Organization 13, a group caught in the war between light and dark. Like any good story, it's best to start at the beginning. One of the more confusing aspects of the series is its namesake. It's supposed to be the driving force of the series, yet at times it feels like we're barely connected to the actual Kingdom Hearts. It's the heart-shaped moon that sits ominously in the sky, a source of great power that some say is pure darkness, others believe it's the true light. It's said that Kingdom Hearts is the heart of all worlds, tied to each of the various Disney-inspired realms that players travel to over the course of the series. These once-connected worlds are now separated, their inhabitants living in blissful ignorance of what lies beyond their borders. Only under special conditions can one travel between these worlds, but the legends foretell that once Kingdom Hearts is unlocked, the worlds will reunite once again. A few of these worlds play a special role. One, known as Traverse Town, appeared whenever anyone was in need of shelter, and served as the destination for those who lost their homeworlds. Such was the fate of the Radiant Garden, the home of many of the series' cast, which transformed into Hollow Bastion after Maleficent and the Heartless brought it to ruin. Then, there's the Land of Departure, which was the home of many Keyblade wielders before it fell into darkness at the end of Birth by Sleep. Shortly thereafter, through the power of her master's Keyblade, Aqua transformed the Land of Departure into Castle Oblivion, though one day this world too may be returned to normal. Along with normal humans, many of the displaced inhabitants from these darkened worlds are the well-known stars of timeless Disney classics and fan favorites from the Final Fantasy series. They mostly play supporting roles to the Keyblade wielders that star in these games, yet all of their fates are tied together, linked by the desire of those seeking Kingdom Hearts. To open the way to the heart of all worlds and unlock its power, it is said one must possess the Keyblade, which spelled out looks like X-Blade. The letter X represents the Greek symbol for Kai, which in the Kingdom Hearts series is pronounced as Key. The symbol would serve as an important mark later on. It is this struggle to possess the Keyblade that long ago plunged the world into darkness. The central theme of Kingdom Hearts is the power to unlock either the light or darkness within each person's heart. To do this, one must possess a weapon known as a Keyblade, but only special people can wield these key-shaped swords. Some of these whose hearts had given into darkness sought to obtain the Keyblade and unlock Kingdom Hearts for their own dark desires. At the heart of this tale is a grim event known as the Keyblade War. This fierce conflict was waged by Keyblade masters who sought Kingdom Hearts. The war eventually consumed the world in emptiness, and the site of this great conflict, later known as the Keyblade Graveyard, serves as the crossroads for the series. At the end of the war, the Keyblade was shattered into 20 pieces, 7 of light and 13 of darkness. It is not known exactly who or what caused the destruction of the blade, but the effects of this terrible battle are clear. Darkness covered the entire world, but the light within the hearts of children saved the day. The world, once whole, was now separated into many parts and scattered across the realm. In the aftermath, the remaining Keyblade Masters made a vow to protect the world from being lost again. But along with the dark events of the Keyblade War, those times when various Disney and Final Fantasy characters lived in blissful peace faded from memory, and the tale passed into legend. Yet there was one who sought out this buried past, learning of its dark secrets and seeking the means to obtain the forbidden power that nearly destroyed all. His name was Xehanort. Master Xehanort was one of the oldest and wisest Keyblade Masters, but after discovering the knowledge of the Keyblade and Kingdom Hearts, this great warrior succumbed to his dark desires. The Tainted Master enacted a plan to obtain the Keyblade during the events of the prequel Birth by Sleep, hoping that the conflict between light and darkness he created would allow him to forge the Keyblade. He came close, but failed thanks to the efforts of Aqua, Terra, and Ventus. Though his first attempt ended in defeat, Xehanort was able to secure a new host to replace his aging body. He found a suitable match in the young Keyblade wielder, Terra. Though he successfully fused with Terra, creating a new entity known as Terra Xehanort, he had to take drastic action to achieve this and lost his memories as a result. Shortly after, he became an apprentice to the Sage King, Ansem the Wise. During this period, when he could not recall his memories, he was labeled Apprentice Xehanort. During his time under Ansem the Wise, Apprentice Xehanort was drawn to research the darkness within people's hearts. He began unethical experiments, which ultimately resulted in the discovery of the Heartless. Eventually, Ansem the Wise learned of Xehanort's devious acts and ordered him to stop his experiments. This did little to dissuade his pupil from continuing his research, and Xehanort ultimately gave himself to the darkness sometime after the events of Birth by Sleep. Xehanort himself ceased to exist, creating a Heartless and causing a previously unknown entity to enter the world, a nobody. These two mysterious beings carried out the will of their original form and sought the means to unlock Kingdom Hearts. One of the more confusing aspects of the Kingdom Hearts series is the fact that there are actually two people called Ansem. In the original game, fans were led to believe Ansem was a benevolent scientist, only to learn he was apparently the main antagonist. However, in Kingdom Hearts 2, the plot thickened. In a scene when Sora and King Mickey are finally reunited, the two argue over the identity of a man in a portrait. The man Sora believes is Ansem. Yet Mickey says the Ansem they fought in Kingdom Hearts is an imposter. This revelation simultaneously served as a plot twist and a confounding puzzle. What was the story behind these two Ansems? Sora looks at the picture and sees Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, who is actually the Heartless created as a result of Apprentice Xehanort giving himself up to the darkness. This Ansem serves as the primary antagonist in the original Kingdom Hearts, possessing Riku and continuing to torment him over the course of the series, as the young boy struggles to deal with the darkness inside him. The other Ansem is known as Ansem the Wise, the very same person who took Master Xehanort under his wing after the events of Birth by Sleep.
Xehanort, foolish apprentice of a foolish man. You have surpassed nothing, only proved how little we both know.
With an imposter wreaking havoc in his name, Ansem the Wise changed his name to Diz, which stood for Darkness in Zero, because he had lost the light of hope after being banished to the realm of darkness by his apprentices. He then concealed his true identity while seeking revenge against his former pupils, though he finally unmasked himself in Kingdom Hearts 2. There was still one other tied to the fate of Apprentice Xehanort, his nobody. This shadow self assumed the form of Xemnas, a character who would serve as the main villain in Kingdom Hearts 2 and 358 over 2 days. Xemnas' goal was to find vessels for 13 pieces of darkness, assembling the group that came to be known as Organization 13, and acting as their leader. Master Xehanort had previously discovered that the only way to forge the Keyblade was to have the forces of light and darkness clash once again, and the beings known as Ansem and Xemnas, the respective Heartless and Nobody of Terra Xehanort, contrived to bring about such a war. It isn't fully explained how this battle between good and evil will lead to the restoration of the Keyblade. In the aftermath of the long battle that began in Kingdom Hearts and ended in Kingdom Hearts II, Xemnas and Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, were destroyed. The legendary Keyblade remained unforged, and the entrance to Kingdom Hearts was still unreachable. However, the destruction of Xehanort's Heartless and Nobody by Sora and Riku triggered his resurrection. The ultimate fate of Terra, who Xehanort had possessed at the end of Birth by Sleep, remains unknown. It's the lingering threat of Master Xehanort that prompts the heroes to take action in the last game in the series thus far, Dream Drop Distance. But there was still one last twist to this tale. Through rather complicated means, Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, discovered he had the ability to travel into the past before his defeat. He confronted the younger incarnation of Xehanort and warned him of what transpired in the future. Ansem then gave young Xehanort the ability to travel into the future, so that he might gather other incarnations of Master Xehanort in order to form a new Organization 13. These vessels would once again serve as the 13 pieces of darkness that would someday clash with the 7 pieces of light, bringing about the return of the Keyblade and the means to unlock Kingdom Hearts. But just as before, a force would stand up against Master Xehanort's dark ambitions: the Keyblade Wielders. Since the very beginning, wielders of the swords known as Keyblades have protected the world, preserving the balance between light and dark. Though some were tainted by the darkness within their hearts, most upheld their vows. When the time comes to pass on their legacy, a master performs a ceremony bequeathing the power to wield a Keyblade to a new owner. Those who receive the power must then pass an exam to earn their mark of mastery. It is at one such exam the story of a special group of Keyblade wielders begins. In Birth by Sleep, we're introduced to 3 Keyblade wielders: Aqua, Terra, and Ventus, each one training to become a master. On the day of Aqua and Terra's Mark of Mastery exam, Master Xehanort uses his darkness to corrupt the test. In the aftermath, only Aqua is made a master, creating a rift between her and Terra, something Master Xehanort hoped to exploit. The young Keyblade wielders are then separated, each going on their own personal quest. Ventus in particular is troubled because of a past he can't remember. In truth, his story began when he was Master Xehanort's pupil. Xehanort hoped to turn his student into a new vessel.
Alas, poor Ventus never had the fortitude for such strenuous trials.
This prompted Xehanort to take a more radical approach, a means to recreating the Keyblade. He extracted the darkness from Ventus's heart, splitting the boy's heart in 2. One half remained in Ventus, while the other would form the alter ego known as Vanitas. This would have been disastrous for Ventus, but something unexpected occurred. Sora's heart was on its way to its newborn body when it saw Ventus's light shining in the distance. Sora's heart followed the guiding light until it entered Ventus's damaged heart. This is why Vanitas takes on Sora's appearance. After some time, Ventus returned back to normal and resumed his training under a new Keyblade Master, along with Aqua and Terra. Xehanort waited for the opportune moment to strike again, disrupting the peaceful existence Ventus and his friends enjoyed. This act set in motion a series of events that aligned Vanitas and Ventus on a collision course, and the villain hoped the resulting battle between the duo would create the item he coveted. When the two eventually clashed at the Keyblade Graveyard, the ultimate Keyblade was temporarily forged, but Ventus sacrificed his own heart to destroy the blade. Yet this was not the end for Ventus. The 2 damaged halves of his shared heart combined once again, and Ventus called out to the young boy who helped heal him before. Sora again accepted Ventus's heart into his own, allowing the damage to mend. However, the process would take time. As for Ventus's body, it was placed in Castle Oblivion by Aqua, where the boy sleeps until the day Aqua can return and save him. During Aqua's journey, she stumbles across a young girl named Kairi, who accidentally touches Aqua's Keyblade during their encounter. This unintentionally triggers the ceremony bequeathing the power to wield a Keyblade to Kairi. The power to wield the Keyblade was passed on one more time as Terra performed the ceremony on a young boy living on Destiny Islands. That boy was Riku. The fate of the world would soon be in the hands of a new generation, as the old guard endured terrible losses. Overcome by the darkness inside of him, Terra ends up as one of the casualties. He's forced to merge with Master Xehanort and become his new vessel at the climax of their battle at the Keyblade Graveyard. Terra's tale is a sad one indeed, mostly because his foolishness was paramount in allowing Xehanort to achieve all he has over the course of the series. And Terra is also cited as the sole reason for why Xehanort was able to create his Heartless and Nobody. Aqua also falls, though only after she hides Ventus's body safely away in the newly created Castle Oblivion. She is then sealed away in the Realm of Darkness, with no way to escape after fighting Terra Xehanort, a battle that resulted in the villain's amnesia. She wanders there for many years before encountering Ansem the Wise, who reveals that a young boy named Sora is the one destined to save them all. In the midst of their quest to stop Xehanort, there was another who had the power to wield the Keyblade, Mickey. During Birth by Sleep, the mouse is training under former Keyblade master Yen Sid, but ultimately gets tangled up in the affairs of Xehanort. He comes to the aid of Aqua, Terra, and Ventus numerous times, but is unable to prevent the tragedy that befalls them. He continues to fight against the darkness as a Keyblade wielder, anticipating the day he would be reunited with his friends. "10 years after the conclusion of Birth by Sleep, we encounter the next wave of Keyblade wielders, Sora, Riku, and Kairi. During the opening of Kingdom Hearts, as the darkness engulfs Destiny Islands, a Keyblade appears before Sora, leading many to believe he was its chosen wielder. However, this is not the truth. The Keyblade Sora wields is actually Riku's. Terra performed his inheritance ceremony on Riku, so the Keyblade that appeared was meant for Sora's friend. Unfortunately, Riku had given into the darkness at this point, and when Sora touched the Keyblade, it was temporarily transferred to him. It wasn't until later, when Sora proved his heart was strong enough, that the Keyblade chose him over its intended wielder. Sora's tale is a complex one, often the source of much frustration and confusion amongst newcomers to the Kingdom Hearts series. This is because of his connection to so many different characters, specifically Ventus and Roxas. When Sora became a Heartless near the end of Kingdom Hearts, this created his nobody, Roxas. Roxas took on the appearance of Ventus because Ventus's heart resided inside of Sora at the end of Birth by Sleep. Roxas also has the ability to use Sora's Keyblade because he's Sora's nobody. The story of this complex connection continues in Chain of Memories, when Naminé tampers with Sora's memories. In order to return to normal, Sora goes to sleep for roughly a year while Naminé restores his memories. It is during this time that the events of 358 over 2 days takes place, which chronicle Roxas' days as a member of Organization 13. The final 7 days are depicted in the opening of Kingdom Hearts 2, when Roxas encounters Sora before he awakens. Sora reawakens with most of his memory restored, though he's forgotten what transpired in Castle Oblivion. The events of Kingdom Hearts 2 then follow, culminating in the reunion of Sora, Riku, and Kairi on Destiny Islands. If Sora's tale represents the theme of light, then Riku's adventures are best summed up by his struggle against the darkness. We mentioned earlier that Riku should have obtained a Keyblade, but was unable to do so because he gave in to the darkness. However, we see Riku able to summon the blade at certain points, a feat that was possible since Terra had performed the inheritance ceremony on him. Until Riku could overcome his internal conflict, he couldn't become a true Keyblade wielder. The darkness inside turned out to be more potent than Riku imagined. Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, was able to take hold of Riku and possess the young boy. Though Sora was successful in defeating Ansem at the end of Kingdom Hearts, a piece of the villain still resided within Riku's heart. This is why, at times in various games, Riku's appearance takes the form of Ansem. However, by the end of Kingdom Hearts 2, Riku had successfully conquered the darkness within him thanks to the help of King Mickey. This set the stage for Riku to finally discover whether he truly deserved to wield a Keyblade in Dream Drop Distance. and though Sora wasn't originally intended to wield the Keyblade, he had shown potential, and both are considered candidates for the Mark of Mastery. In Dream Drop Distance, the two heroes undertake the exam, but in the end, only Riku passes. Sora isn't set back by the development because, deep down, he knows his strength. He sets off to thank those who helped him along his exam, and will presumably return for the final showdown with Xehanort. Though we primarily see Sora and Riku wielding Keyblades throughout the series, their friend Kairi also possesses the ability. Kairi's adventure began back at Radiant Garden during the events of Birth by Sleep, when she accidentally came into contact with Aqua's Keyblade and gained the potential to wield such a weapon herself, a destiny that's eventually realized in Kingdom Hearts 2 when she's given a Keyblade by Riku to defend herself. Aqua also provides aid to Kairi, casting a protective spell that sees her to Destiny Islands after Kairi's homeworld falls into darkness. Yet before she could realize her destiny as a Keyblade wielder, something terrible happened to Kairi. Her heart became trapped inside of Sora's during the events of Kingdom Hearts. When Kairi's heart was released from Sora's body, this created a special type of nobody, Naminé. Curiously, when Kairi lost her heart, no Heartless was produced. You see, Kairi is not just a Keyblade wielder, she's also a Princess of Heart. There are 7 Princesses of Heart, Kairi, and 6 princesses from the Disney universe, and each contains a pure light within them. These princesses serve a crucial role in the series, as it's apparent that even if the 7 Guardians of Light refuse to fight Master Xehanort's 13 Pieces of Darkness, then the Fiend would turn to the 7 Princesses of Light to get to Kingdom Hearts. One other important trait the 7 Princesses of Heart share is that they can never turn into a Heartless, but in special circumstances, they can produce a Nobody. This exception is illustrated with the creation of Kairi's Nobody, Naminé. Naminé was a special type of Nobody who possessed strange powers and shared a strong connection with Sora. Though she's a driving force in the games, Kairi is usually in the background during much of the action. Yet, in the secret ending of Dream Drop Distance, it's revealed that she'll be trained to become a potential Keyblade Master, suggesting she'll have a more prominent role than ever in Kingdom Hearts 3. The Keyblade wielders, also known as the Warriors of Light, would soon gather to protect the 7 Pieces of Light from the looming threat of Xehanort. The evil mastermind sought to gather vessels to create a new Organization 13, which would fulfill the role of the 13 Pieces of Darkness. The organization played a central role in the affairs of Master Xehanort, but until now, we've only been told how they were used. In truth, they weren't just faceless souls doing their master's bidding. We saw many of them share their dreams and a common cause. As the series moved forward, fans had lingering questions. What was the story behind Organization 13? The genesis of Organization 13 can be traced all the way back to the events that transpired between Birth by Sleep and Kingdom Hearts, when Xehanort was conducting his secret experiments behind the back of Ansem the Wise, his master. During this time, a group of scientists under the supervision of Ansem formed the original organization. Ansem's original purpose was to research Xehanort's heart in hopes of finding a way to restore his lost memories. When Ansem deemed the research too dangerous, Xehanort and the other apprentices continued the experiments in secrecy. Xehanort's research eventually led to the discovery of the Heartless. When the scientists were confronted by Ansem the Wise, they decided their only choice was to become guinea pigs for their final experiment. They gave up their bodies in order to become heartless and fully realize their research. This act created a new human form that retained their memories, a nobody. The nobodies of these 6 scientists became the first members of Organization 13. This group, consisting of various nobodies, was dedicated to finding a way to restore their hearts so they could become whole again. While their ranks grew, they were eventually undone by petty scheming and internal politics. As their numbers dwindled, the organization was left in disarray. One member of the organization who deserves special mention is Axel, who on numerous occasions came to the aid of Roxas, forming a special bond with him, and ultimately helped Sora at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2. Axel is a pivotal character motivated by the kindness within his heart and his past friendship with Roxas. Though it's not known for certain why he has the ability to wield a Keyblade after his nobody was destroyed and he returned to human form, it is implied in Dream Drop Distance that he received a Keyblade from either Mickey or Yen Sid through the rite of succession. Every organization member is distinguished by ominous attire, the black coats that prevent them from being corrupted by the darkness, but they also share a secret with their names. Each one is an anagram of the original form's names, with an additional letter added, X. For example, rearranging the letters of Sora and adding X creates the name Roxas. The X, also known as the Racusin sigil, served as a special marking derived from Xehanort's fascination with the Keyblade. It designated the 13 beings marked to become vessels for Xehanort's heart, in order to create 13 pieces of darkness. Despite Xehanort's careful planning, many of the members proved either too weak or traitorous to fulfill their roles, and the plan did not succeed. Xehanort decided to create a new Organization 13, one whose ranks were made up of different incarnations of himself scattered across time. With this new group under his command, he hoped to leverage his newfound power in the forthcoming battle to reforge the Keyblade. Master Xehanort's plan to claim Kingdom Hearts brought chaos and destruction to many, but it also gave rise to those carrying the light of hope within their hearts. At every turn, the Defenders of Light, those who wield Keyblades, have thwarted the Fiend, preserving the balance for another day. But it appears that it all leads to Xehanort's true endgame. One common misconception is that Kingdom Hearts 3 will bring about the end of the series, when in fact, it will only resolve what Tetsuya Nomura has dubbed the Xehanort Saga. The conclusion of Dream Drop Distance made it clear what the next chapter of this story will be. The 13 Pieces of Darkness, the true Organization 13, will clash with the 7 Pieces of Light. These pieces are represented either by the Keyblade wielders or perhaps the Princesses of Heart. Either way, a final showdown between the forces of light and darkness is inevitable. But how do we know the next game will finally be the long-awaited Kingdom Hearts 3? One only has to look at the clues present in Dream Drop Distance. During the ending credits, special letters appear that spell out the phrase, "This leads to Kingdom Hearts," a rather ambiguous message until you realize the final shot has Sora and Riku walking into the light, forming what appears to be the Roman numeral 3. Additionally, there is one final secret message in the game's reports accessed via the submenu. It simply states, "The past will be reawakened as a new number in never-before-seen detail. Prepare yourself for the awakening of the next number." In 2013, Square Enix released Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 Remix, which included remastered editions of Kingdom Hearts, Chain of Memories, and 358 over 2 days. This clearly references the past being awakened in never-before-seen detail. This can only mean that what's to follow is the next number, Kingdom Hearts 3. In a 2011 interview with Famitsu Weekly magazine, Tetsuya Nomura said the Xehanort saga should end once and for all in Kingdom Hearts 3. Given everything that's transpired and been said in the games, it's safe to assume the next entry will be number 3, and that the struggle between Xehanort and the Keyblade wielders will come to a dramatic conclusion. The speculation would soon end. At Sony's annual press conference at E3 2013, Tetsuya Nomura finally pulled back the curtain on the long-awaited sequel. In a brief teaser trailer, we were treated to a scene on Destiny Islands, where an older-looking Sora comes across the Keyblade belonging to Aqua and Terra's former master, followed by a brief mock-up of what the gameplay might look like. This teaser provided very little insight into what we might see in the next game, but fans didn't have to wait long for new info. Square Enix eventually disclosed some of the game's story during their Future of Square Enix conference the next day. According to the press release, the plot will focus on Master Xehanort, who seeks to spark a war against the tyranny of light to restore the balance between light and darkness. In an effort to undermine Xehanort's plot, Sora, Donald, and Goofy search for 7 Guardians of Light and the key to return hearts, while Mickey and Riku search for the previous Keyblade wielders. With the existence of Kingdom Hearts 3 finally confirmed, the long wait for the next chapter begins. But will the tale end there? In the same 2011 interview, Nomura teased that there may be more to the story after this climactic conflict. The one specific he disclosed is that whatever does come next, it will star Sora. Though the roadmap for the series appears to be straightforward, Nomura has been known to change things on a whim, and it wouldn't be the first time he's played games with fans' hearts. For over a decade, millions have been captivated by the mythology and lore behind Kingdom Hearts. This magical universe folded nostalgic recollections of classic Square and Disney characters into new memories and new stories, echoing themes of light and dark, good and evil, and though it may sound cheesy, the power of friendship. Touching moments from a memorable cast of characters have sustained this tale through confusion and revelation. Players want to line the pieces up, not to solve some logical puzzle, but to understand how the events of each game had a direct impact on the future of the series. We want to know the story behind each character, their motivations, and their origins. We want to know their past, and we want to know their future. Kingdom Hearts invests a lot in its story, weaving a continuous narrative thread from start to finish, and invites players to invest as well. It's for this reason, above all others, that so many fans can overlook the sometimes convoluted nature of the series, anxiously awaiting the inevitable continuation of the story.